All right, we are back with another pick'em video. Going to be going over the NBA today. Only two games today, so not the best slate in the world. You can see I got a million tabs open and try to find some value in today. I will bring you guys, 4 or 5 picks. Definitely pick and choose and play light today. But we'll go over the slate and obviously the video picks from last time. Not the best return in the world. I probably got hooked the most I've ever got hooked between multiple platforms, not just Prize Picks. I'll go over this now just because I'm talking about it. But Bay had a pretty much an entire half to get this. Frustrating one there because he was playing, pretty well early in a Hawks win over OKC. So good for them. But again, Bay just couldn't do anything in the second half. Same thing with Dern. The NBA app was being weird last night. It was glitchy for me. I don't know if it was for anyone else, but I know for a fact he had an entire overtime to get this and didn't end up doing anything in overtime after he played the whole time, but just didn't get any stats for us. And then, Turner, this was even a sweat. Another spot, I liked Brook Lopez in this game. I had a slip with both of these guys in for block shots over, and Brook Lopez didn't do anything, got nothing, no steal, no block. That was the first time he's done that, I think, all season. So a lot of good plays, value plays that eventually got bumped or taken off the board, just didn't go our way yesterday. And I think that was across like YouTube as like a general consensus. I know I watch other YouTubers, and not everyone had a great day yesterday. So, and then Miami Lakers game wasn't a very good game at all. I watched the first half, tuned back into the second half, but the Heat were up. Duncan Robinson was playing well. Bam didn't really do too much in a spot that he's usually crushed, and then the Lakers on the other side of this didn't really have a chance in that game. They kind of were in that 10-point gap the entire way, and they had like 20 plus turnovers. So Anthony Davis, obviously a non-beneficiary of that one too, so it goes over. But again, let's go over the games real quick. I got a million tabs open, so see if I can find the games. Here we go. We got the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Spurs. This is an interesting one because these guys have played earlier in the year, but it's a completely different Spurs team. Again, we got Wembanyama at center now on a minutes restriction, so that's interesting. If we look at this starting lineup, Trey Jones, Devin Vassell, Julian Champagnie, Jeremy Sohan, and Victor Wembanyama is completely different from what they had last time they played the Bucks. And this was kind of a blowout, pretty much. It looks better than it was. Looks like by the third, it was 20-plus point game. But they had Zach Collins at center, Sohan, Keldon Johnson now coming off the bench, Vassell, and then Branham. Branham's a game time decision, but looking like he's not going to play. Zach Collins is not playing. So again, totally different team going up against the Bucks today. And then there's also the blowout potential. So tough spot for that game. And then this Nuggets-Warriors game, a closer spread, but great defense by the Nuggets kind of in all categories. So tough to kind of just hammer like Steph Curry points or really anyone here. The guy that I like today, and we'll talk a little bit later about, is Kuminga, just because he's definitely come into a bigger role with Draymond Green being out. And I think they're going to play him. He's been getting 26 plus minutes pretty consistently lately. And again, just a weird spot altogether for both these teams, or I guess all four of these teams. But let's jump into the board. Again, nothing too crazy for the day. I definitely recommend playing lightly. But the first guy I want to talk about is Wembanyama. Again, we talked about him being on a potential limits restriction. Not potentially, he is on a limits restriction for the next, I think, couple weeks. So his 19.5 points was at 18.5 earlier in the day. So it's nice to see that's trending in the right direction. And now just when thinking about Wembanyama today, he's playing Giannis and Brook Lopez, and he's in that center spot. So I know centers like to take, if they can shoot, they like to take Brook Lopez out of the paint. And Wembanyama's quick. He's got the handle, and he can shoot the three for sure. So I'm actually, with the blowout potential, I'm going to attack his first half points here. It's at 10.0. Would love it a lot better if it was at 9.5. And I have something open for him, just StatMuse, Wembanyama first half game log. This is pretty much the only place I could find it. And you see that he's not playing the most minutes in the world. It's around 5 minutes in the first quarter, and then he gets a little bit more run in the second. But around 13, ish minutes in the first. And he's gone over this in 4 straight, or at least pushed in 4 straight. Decent amount of double digits here pretty much all season. So with that blowout potential, with the minutes restriction, I like his first half play here, over 10. And again, if he hits a 3 like he's been doing the past few games, that's a good boost for us. and he's been shooting it really well. So let's say he draws Brook Lopez out of the paint, gets a three or something in the first half. It would be nice for us. Maybe he gets two. He doesn't have a 3-pointer line right now. If he does, I think it's actually favored on the under for 1.5 threes. But if he had like a 0.5 3-pointers in the first half line, I'd probably be going after that. But yeah, like Wembanyama, 10.0 points. There's not much odds or anything I can show you on it just because not a lot of books have half points. A lot of them have quarter points, which is pretty interesting. They're first quarter points rather than first half. But yeah, I'm liking him in this spot. Again, he's been doing pretty well. I'm just thinking about the game as it will come naturally. Hopefully he gets a three on Brook Lopez and that boosts us up a little bit. So that'll be our first play. Going to be staying mostly in the NBA. I do have a NHL play for you guys just because it was jumping off the page. But let's just go with OddsJam. I'll kind of show you that we got the NBA tab locked in. There's not a whole lot to deal with. Even these 53.75 ones don't particularly make a lot of sense to me. I didn't really look too far into this Vassell line, but 7.5 is under for his rebounds and assists is quote unquote the top play on the board right now. But I've been looking at a few of these. I either don't like their hit rates or just thinking about the game as I expect it to go doesn't really make sense to me. But like for this one, for instance, I have Aaron Gordon pulled up. We'll talk about him in a little bit. But we got who are we just looking at? Devin Vassell, yeah. Devin Vassell, a guy that is expected to play a lot of minutes today, but again, there's that blowout potential. In the rebounds and assist line, under, that's definitely a solid spot for him. But again, if this one does end up staying close, that's the only thing you have to worry about. And then in rebounds and assists allowed for Milwaukee, they are really middle of the pack. So this could honestly be a solid play here. This might just have popped up before I started videoing this because I didn't see this one before. But that's a good spot. Again, play lightly today, but we'll throw that in just to kind of get it in there for some sort of pick you guys can go with today. But let's go to Vassell. What was it? 10.5? No, 7.5. Rebounds and assists. There we go. So we'll have an under on that one. So nice little Spurs spread if you want to look at some Spurs plays. But yeah, going to be an interesting game over there. You also have to think about just like it's Wembanyama. It's like a European showdown down there. With the Frenchman in Wemby, and you got the Greek freak in Giannis. So we'll see if they kind of like elevate their play because of that. But they're kind of just reading into it at that point. But next up, we're going to go to the other game, shift over there, just because it's a little bit more, 3.5 point spread's a lot better than a 9-point spread. So let's go over there. We're going to go to Jamal Murray here. And the one popping off for me is under 6.5 assists for Jamal Murray. The hit rate the past few games has not been the best, but the odds are liking this one. And against the Warriors, he doesn't typically get a whole bunch of assists. So we'll look into that. Again, they have played, I think, twice this year, so we have some data from the year to look at. But kind of just going down the board for NBA picks. Here we go. We got Jamal Murray right up top. So we'll be definitely looking into this one a little bit. But Klay Thompson steal is kind of just a pick 'em right there. The 0.5 lines are not always the best to do just because anything can change that. Especially a steal. You can grab one of those by accident practically. Vassell, first quarter points. I don't love that, especially if I'm going to Wembanyama's first half. Trace Jackson Davis. This could be a good under, especially if they run Looney a little bit more today. Again, Devin Vassell rebounds. That's going to be an over here. But I looked at this one, not my favorite one in the world. But yeah, you just keep going down the list and kind of checking them out. But yeah, let's keep it moving. Want to make this one kind of quick. But we got 3 plays for us already. Let's look into that Jamal Murray line because we can. We already saw the odds. Our favorite 53.47% chance to hit. So that's not bad at all. Not the best in the world, but definitely not bad. Everyone else has got this around minus 135. And if we get this into a 5-man flex or 6-man flex on PrizePicks, we can get it to minus 119 value. So definitely not a bad spot. Getting some value there. But let's go into it. Again, I got so many tabs here. It's hard to figure out where we are. But let's find Jamal Murray, see what he's been doing, recently. Like I kind of mentioned, he has been going over this assist line recently. But in the last 10, he's gone under in 6 of the last 10. This is definitely scary. But again, there's not a whole bunch of good props on the board right now. Good thing is the Golden State allows the 7th least amount of assists per game at 25. So, solid matchup in terms of an under here. We saw the odds are favoring this as well. So definitely a solid spot for them on PrizePicks. And if we look at the head-to-head, which is kind of the bigger one, I guess they played each other once this year, at least when Murray played, and he only had 3. So solid spot for Murray. Again, he's been diving a little bit better lately, but on the year, 67% hit rate on the under. And if we go to RotoWire, check him out over here, Jamal Murray. We'll see that they're also projecting on the under here. Jamal Murray assists. They're projecting 6.12. So again, if he gets 6, that doesn't hurt us. It's just that 7th one that would do it. So yeah, liking Jamal Murray here. Also interesting just because we got that Vassell line on the fly. If they are projecting on the under this one. So they're projecting 8. So, again, if you don't like the projection model going against what you're thinking, even though the sports books and everything have them on the under, hit rate looks pretty good too. You just got to take this with a grain of salt and kind of pick them yourself here. But we'll throw it in there for the video picks just because there's not a whole lot to choose from. But yeah, let's keep it going. Jonathan Kuminga is going to be the next play. I kind of alluded to him earlier, but 13.5 points again against Denver. He did play these guys at least once. Again, I think they played maybe each other twice earlier in the year. And maybe Murray only played him once. But let's go check out Kuminga. I think I saw him down here. Yeah, so they're giving it a 53.11% chance to hit over on OddsJam. Minus 145 on Pinnacle. But again, everyone else is around minus 130. So definitely getting a value play on PrizePicks. So again, Pinnacle, one of the sharpest sportsbooks out there. Go over this every day. But it's nice to see that they're, heavily favoring that over. And it makes sense to me just kind of thinking about the game as well. We will go over to see his game log, see what he's been doing so far this year. And we got him right here, 13.5. If I can find, I'll go to his page and find it in there. Let's go to his points. Where is his points? Jeez. There it is. All right, so 13.5 minus 125 is what Outlier is showing us. But again, we got all these other books showing, around minus 130. We talked about Pinnacle as well. And the biggest thing is the last 10, probably because, Draymond Green's out. He's kind of getting more minutes, 26, rather than his 23 before that. So, Denver's is definitely a hard matchup for him. But they have faced each other once this year. He ended up getting 13 in 23 minutes. So again, if he gets that extended run, if this game's close and he gets, 26, 27, maybe 30 minutes, that'd be really nice to see. RotoWire is projecting, again, this is nice just so you can see the projected minutes. But RotoWire is projecting 28. So again, we'll get a 5-point boost there to get that extra 0.5 points. Definitely liking that. And looks like, yeah, they did play each other twice. But again, this was back in November, very early on in the season, only 18 minutes a run. And they're kind of just extending Kuminga's leash and playing a lot more. So I like the spot for him. 13.5 odds are favoring as well. And again, if this stays close, I think he's going to be a decent part of the reason why. So to small forwards, does this get a little bit better? Gets a little bit better. So if you're someone, or I guess he's a power forward, he's more of a small forward in my eyes. But yeah, gets a little bit better. So if you're someone that just goes off matchups, there you go. But yeah, looking good for us. Let's go to RotoWire to get that last data point. Jonathan Kuminga. And we're seeing it 18.5 points and rebounds is popping up as well. Looks like RotoWire is projecting 20.76. But again, actually the sports books are liking this as well. So this could be another way you attack this. Again, the rebounding or going up against Denver is not the best in the world either. So maybe just go to his points. That's what I'm going to be doing. But you can obviously choose between whichever ones you're thinking. But everything leaning on the over, even if it's just a little bit. So definitely a solid spot for Kuminga. But that's our four NBA plays, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so these are our 4 NBA plays. These are the ones that I'm liking the best. Just a couple more to talk about. Giannis's 3-point line. It's at 0.5. Yeah, 0.5. I don't know if this fire emoji means people are taking it a lot. It's like the new popular tab. I don't know if this could mean that they're taking the over or the under, but I think the under is definitely a solid spot. I'll go over it real quick just so you guys have some more options. But we'll see Giannis here. I think it's like a 70% hit rate on the under. Let's go to his points. I actually went to his under on points on Sleeper just because I think it's, we're not getting the value we can get on Sleeper on PrizePicks here. So that's like the advantage of having different sports books to go over. But if you want to try out a different platform or anything like that, Sleeper, Chalkboard, any of those guys, Underdog as well, you can check out the links in the description. You can get a deposit match, $100 for Underdog and Chalkboard, and then $500 on Sleeper. So check those out. Also free trials for Odds Jam, Outlier, RotoWire. You can check those out in the description as well. But again, want to make this kind of quick, just because not the best in the world. But yeah, I like Giannis' under. Took it on Sleeper. The sports books are not liking it. They think he's going to have a great game. Dame had 40 points against the Spurs last year, or not last year, last game they played. So Giannis only had 11. I'm not saying he's going to have 11 points again, but he could be, definitely facilitating, getting someone else going, like Malik Beasley or like Dame, who had 40 last time against these guys. So I like the under. He's been under this a lot recently. So that's something to look at. It is at 34.0 on Prize Picks, I believe. So I got a 34.5 just a little bit earlier. But what were we looking at here? 3-pointers. That kind of goes into the same thing. Looking like it's minus 125 on the under. 2023 as a whole, 70% hit rate. Now the Spurs do give up a whole bunch of threes to power forwards. They give them up as well. So in terms of matchups, not the best in the world, but something I wanted to point out for you guys. And so that's going to do it. Again, play lightly today. Not the best slate in the world. Maybe some good games. Maybe that Nuggets Warriors game will be a good one. It'll be fun to see Giannis versus Wembanyama. But again, minutes restriction for Wemby. Hopefully you can get this out in the first half. And that kind of avoids any blowout potential as well. This Vassell one was kind of just thrown in there because I saw it pop up and it looked pretty solid. But remember, RotoWire is projecting 8. So if you're a big projections guy, which I like to do kind of a combo approach of odds and projections and just kind of what you know about the game. So this one I'll just throw in here to get that 5th pick because we have an NHL play as well. So I want to go to Stamkos. He's at 3.0 shots on goal. Going to go under here, and I'll kind of show you why my reasoning is. Over on Odds Jam, sometimes I look at the NHL and throw those in there and just kind of see if there's any shots on goal that's being projected, heavily on the under or over. And we can see that they're giving some orange plays over here, but a lot of them are unders, and a lot of shots on goal props are favored as pushes. So these 2.0 lines, I'm not, I don't like them too much. I don't play them too much unless they're projecting the same way that their line is. So right now they're projecting the under on the 2.0 line, but everyone else has this at 2.5, and it's just very heavily favored to go under that 2.5 line. So it's a solid spot. It'll probably push and potentially goes under here, but I like to attack lines more like this one, like the Stamkos one that I kind of went over. They got his line as 3.0, and other sportsbooks have it at 2.5. So even though it's favored to go over 2.5 very slightly, I like to be able to get that push potential in the better direction. So this is my Stamkos play. Going to go under here. Again, very strictly odds-based one on this one, but that will get us 5 plays. And I always like to attack 5 or 6-man plays on Prize Picks. So that will do it. I already locked this in, but I'll do it again. Just do a $5 entry or something. But we'll go over that later tomorrow when there's a whole bunch more games. And so that will do it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.